We are live.
Kitty.
Look at and brothers will not be doing today's show. Instead, Brothers Williams. Is it hyphenated?
I don't know. Do we hyphenate our cats' names? Is that pretentious?
Well,
I would ask the cat.
What does the cat want?
What does the cat want?
Yes.
The cat wants somebody to pet his belly.
Fair enough. Anne, we have a special guest in, as you can see today. We have crack entertainment specialist Chip Mohele is joining us today. Woo, woo, woo. No.
And he will regale us with stories of stars.
That's right. That is correct.
Stories of
Wait, I have to bring my comments online.
Okay.
Comments. Oh, here we go. Nope, nobody has commented yet.
Well, geez.
I
Okay.
know, right?
That's right.
Ouch. Ow.
All right. That's okay. No one's watching yet, but they might eventually. Who knows? That's all right. So, Chip, how are you? Tell us something good. Tell us something new and different.
I'm good. I'm actually just trying to drive a little traffic our way. Let's see. Brother Sister show begins now.
You didn't. I know. Like, what are you doing? Get in here. I know. If you really want to go meta, then you'll put Facebook or YouTube on and watch us while we're doing. Watch yourself while you're doing your show.
Oh, I have just enough ego that might happen.
That's craziness.
I love that. I love that
My
idea.
cat's watching. Oh no, he's sleeping. Never mind.
I see him in the background. I see him little ball back there.
Yeah, over your shoulder. Is that one of the cats?
That's one of the cats. That's Bovine.
Oh.
His commentary is.
He's all like, whatever. Like, whatever in italics.
Well, this is actually a perfect day and time to do this show because, as you know, we are in our in-between Sunday between football and the Super Bowl. So before we get started today, I was wondering if either of you had any predictions for the Super Bowl.
I think the sportsy thing is going to be a great entertainment show.
Oh, yeah. How many baskets usually wins?
No. It's the one they were at the rackets where they hit things at the rackets.
Who's ever got the best costume wins.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then the pinatas. There's the
is there a red carpet?
Well, that means that Rihanna will win because she's doing the halftime show.
Oh.
Yes, that's who it is.
Yes.
Do we know who her special guests are? I'm hoping Eminem, maybe a little Eminem.
I don't know. That would be awesome. All I know is I thought last year's halftime show was a blast.
I'm trying to remember, last year was Jennifer Lopez.
No, last year was like all of them. It was Dr. Dre and Eminem and Snoop Dogg and Mary J. Blige. Yes. That one was fun.
Yeah.
So
I like when they kind of like bring people in and
yes,
it's not just about one
person.
One person.
No, it was fitting that was the Super Bowl was in LA and then they had those guys doing the thing. So
I'm always trying to get. I really think that the halftime show, and I've thought this for like 6 or 7 years now, should be Pink and Kelly Clarkson. And like they've sung together a couple times. They're fucking marvelous. Pink can do her like aerial layer stuff while Kelly stands on the ground. And then maybe we could throw a little Gwen Stefani in there at some point.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
You know what? Chip, you should be in charge. I vote for Chip.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll find something because I really just want to be entertained. I don't want it to be. In fact, I was reading earlier. I can't remember where I was reading. It was the top 10 worst halftime shows ever. It was funny because they kind of included some of that stuff because the Michael Jackson Super Bowl was in what I want to say 95, and that changed everything as far as Super Bowl halftime shows. And then they were kind of talking about how they had those terrible like Up With People and stuff in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Clean cut white kids. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Up With People.
So, and then they had a couple of the recent ones, like the Black Eyed Peas. That one was terrible. The Paul McCartney one, boring.
Yeah, it's terrible. I love Paul, but he just does not have the voice anymore.
No.
So it's kind of sad to listen to him.
Agreed. So, as you know,
let me just go back real quick. So, who do you predict, Miss Jenny?
Yeah, Jenny. Who's going to win footballing?
If we're talking about footballing, I actually think it's anybody's game this year. You have two very distinctly different teams. Probably the more complete team is definitely the Eagles. There are, in terms of just overall offensive and defensive line play, they are the better team.
Okay.
However, Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback in the league right now, and maybe one of the best quarterbacks ever in the history of the NFL. But, you know.
So let me ask you a question. Is Gronk in any of this?
He is not. He is retired. No Gronky, which is a shame because he's really fun.
Oh, and he's so hot.
So is this the Hotel California Eagles? Is that the one you're talking
about? Whoa, what just happened?
No?
So these would be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
so this is not. So you said Gwen asked some singers, and I thought, oh, so it's the singers. Okay. Like the Eagles.
Wow.
Okay. Are the Eagles
going to be watching the Super Bowl and learning about football? So I guess I'm going to have one where I teach you. Again, we have threatened to do a show where I teach Ann sports, and I don't know if I'm up for that.
I don't know, Jenny. My level of understanding might be lower than you predict, and
you could teach both of us. And
exactly. So who are the Kansas City? What is their things?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, so it's like the Eagles going to bring some pox-infected blankets to threaten the Chiefs with?
Wow.
Is that how that works?
Yes.
Is that racist?
Not just historical. You know, basically all of America right now is like, what in the fuck is that girl talking about? Like,
I don't know. I'm trying. Based on my level, my knowledge, my background knowledge, I'm doing the best I can.
Well, there you go. Hey,
I can't even spell sports. I mean, it's like SPF13. See, I can't even spell it.
Exactly.
Oh, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we start talking about something we all can talk about? For instance, the movie that we are going to be reviewing today.
Ooh, what movie is that?
Well, here, let's bring it up on the stream. There it is. We are going to be reviewing the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So I'm going to, can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay. Yes. This is, so, you know, the Oscars are coming up. And as far as movies to watch for the Oscars, this one is essentially, I'm going to say the front runner. What do you guys think?
I got to look at the list.
I was going to say the only other one I know on the list was Maverick, the sequel to Top Gun, and I would say it's definitely better than that.
Oh, well, I haven't even seen Maverick, and I'm going to say it's better than that.
Yeah, don't. And what's the one, the water movie with the blue people?
Oh, Avatar.
Yeah. Okay.
I've just been calling it Avatar Underwater.
It is. I mean, I loved it. I went to see it because I saw the first one and I loved all the way it looked and everything. But I thought this doesn't really require a sequel. And then they were like, well, there's going to be a sequel because it made $8 gajillion. And then they were like, but the sequel is going to take 3 years. No, 6. No, wait, 5. No, 6. No, 8. No, it's going to take 12 years. And then we're going to do 2 more fucking sequels after that. And I'm like, oh, God. So I thought, well, I want to see it because it's bound to be gorgeous. But about 10 minutes in, I was like, nope, I already know everything. I already know everything. And this movie is like at the 2-hour mark, I had my phone out and I was like, this movie is still going on.
Well, the nice thing about Everything Everywhere All at Once is you had no idea what was going to happen. You weren't even sure what was happening while you were watching it.
Yes.
True. And to answer your question, Chip, your Oscar contenders, and this is ranked, Variety is ranking them in this order. Number the 10th, because there's 10 nominees. So right. Number 10 on the ranking, meaning the 10th, and they're in Variety's response, the 10th least likely movie, the one is Avatar Underwater, as we were just talking about. Number 9 is The Triangle of Sadness, which I don't know anything about.
The Triangle of Sadness?
That's right. And so this is the premise.
That sounds like a Dungeons and Dragons game.
There we go. Well, apparently it's a cruise for the super rich sinks, thus leaving survivors, including a fashion model celebrity couple, trapped on an island.
Oh, so it's Gilligan's Island.
Apparently it's sort of a satire. That's what I'm what I know about that movie. Number 8 is Women Talking, which is exactly what the movie's about. Women talking. Number 7 is Elvis. Number 6 is All Quiet on the Western Front. Oh God, Mrs. Arbanis made us read that book when I was a freshman in high school. Ugh,
I think
know.
I think I cliff noted that one.
Yeah, I didn't. I read it and I did not enjoy it because I was 15. What 15-year-old wants to read that book? Anyway, number 5 is Tar. Number 4 is The Fablemans. Number 3, Top Gun Maverick. Wow. Number 2 is The Banshees of Inisherin. And number 1 is, in fact, Everything Everywhere
Okay.
All at Once.
Yeah, looking at this list, I kind of, I'll say this. I saw The Fablemans. I don't understand the hoopla. It's really not a great movie. It's like repetitive and choppy. And the last 2 scenes of the movie are the best part of the movie. They're marvelous. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens from now on. And then they're like, the end, directed by Steven Spielberg.
And that's why it's there, because it's directed by Steven Spielberg and it's his story. So therefore it shall be nominated.
Yeah.
Just like magic.
I mean, the performances were good, but yeah, it was like, ugh.
That's cool.
I really enjoyed The Whale. The Whale should have been nominated.
I didn't see The Whale, but I have heard that it was a very good movie. And if Top Gun Maverick could make it, I don't know why The Whale.
So anyway, so some quick bits about Everything Everywhere All at Once. For those of you who have not seen this and are curious and think you should see it, it is a movie. It is listed as an absurdist comedy, and I didn't really think it was funny. I mean, there were parts that I thought it was funny the first time I saw it, but on the second viewing, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is funny. Written and directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. It was released actually all the way back a year ago. So it's not one of those movies that gets released late. It was released early last year. Rated R for violence, language, kung fu with dildos, and butt plugs, which is, again, some of that comedy. It has been nominated for 11 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, the directors, Best Actress, actors in a supporting role, and 2 nominations for Best Actress in a supporting role. So it's gotten, and of course, a bunch of visual stuff as well. So it's up there. It's definitely one of the front runners. As far as who is in it, it's not necessarily a who's who of Hollywood, unless you spend a lot of time watching movies. Michelle Yeoh is in it, and she is, God, I love her so much, and she is fantastic in this movie. And I don't know how to pronounce his name. Can somebody help me with that?
I think it's Ki-Hu Kwan.
Ki-Hu Kwan, thank you. I've been slaughtering that for days. Stephanie Zhu, who plays the daughter Joy, Jamie Lee Curtis, and a whole bunch of other just really talented people that are supporting roles, and I could go on and on. Annette May is with us. She said Triangle of Sadness, about icky people. Women talking was horrifying. The subject matter of women talking is very disturbing. It is about a group of Mennonite women in Bolivia. Actually, it's based on a true story, based on a book, who are assaulted by the men in their community, both physically, emotionally. It's one of those movies that I will likely see it, but I will probably only see it one time.
Kind of going off topic here. Ki-Hu Kwan, he played in. He was in. Short Round in the Temple of Doom movie.
Yes,
and he was in the Goonies.
He was in the Goonies. Yeah, I actually have a picture of him later in the slideshow of him as we all knew him back in the early '80s as a child actor who is not a child anymore. So yeehaw. So anyway, that's who's in it. As far as what it's about, okay, I'm gonna take a little time with this because it's ultimately. It's an age-old story. It's basically a family drama. It's about, growing, being a middle-aged woman and having regrets, and family drama and laundry and taxes and love and divorce and all of the things that we're used to watching in any good family drama. It's just that it stays like that once the story gets into it. So, I have a slide here that basically shows it centers around Evelyn, and that is Yeoh's character. She's a middle-aged Chinese-American woman. She owns a laundromat with her husband, Waymond. Evelyn's father, Gong Gong, with whom she has a strained relationship, is visiting from China. And at the same time, she's just having a day. She's trying to, she's being audited by the IRS. The laundromat is. She's trying to plan a Chinese New Year's party at the laundromat. She has all kinds of tension with her daughter. Her daughter is dating a young woman who's non-Chinese, and she hasn't explained that to her father yet. So she's trying to deal with all of that. And it really just kind of presents itself as there's something that happens early in the movie that you're watching in the background that you're like, oh, that's weird. And it stays for like the first 15, 20 minutes, it's just this regular drama until they get into the elevator at the IRS building. And then everything changes. So, okay. While in the elevator, Waymond, her husband, reveals to Evelyn that he's not Evelyn's Waymond, that he is Alpha Waymond from a different multiverse, otherwise known as the Alphaverse, and that he needs her help in defeating a multiverse villain known as Jobu Tupaki. Alpha Waymond writes down a series of instructions for Evelyn to follow while she's in her meeting with the IRS agent, Deirdre, who's played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's almost unrecognizable as Jamie Lee Curtis. That allows her to jump. So by doing this bizarre thing, switching her shoes, she's going to be able to switch multiverses where he can explain in more detail how she can help. And that's where we are so far. So you're in this multiverse movie and a bunch of things happen. And it's hard to explain, but here's the things that I think that everybody going into this movie should know to help you on your first viewing. Because like I said earlier, I had to watch this twice. And I felt like I was watching two different movies from my first viewing to my second viewing. And here's what you should know. Number one, there are many multiverses because each decision we make apparently creates another path to another multiverse. And then jump in, you guys, if you think I'm forgetting stuff here. Number two, Alpha Evelyn. So the Evelyn in Alpha Waymond's multiverse is actually the person who discovered multiverses and how to jump into different ones. Number three, the Evelyn in our story is chosen to help save the multiverses because she's not good at anything, and therefore she can become anything because all of these other Evelyns are really awesome at something, and it turns out our Evelyn isn't. Number four, Evelyn must develop skills in order to defeat Jobu Tupaki, and she has to do this by jumping into these other multiverses, learning the skills that she has in those other multiverses, and bringing those skills back to her own universe. So in order to gain access to these other multiverses, she's got to perform some sort of weird act in order to open the portal, and this is where I think some of the best comedy comes in, is them trying to access these other multiverses. Hilarious. If you're going to watch this movie, you can't be doing anything else. You literally have to dedicate yourself to the 2 hours and 20 minutes that it's going to take to watch this movie. Because if you're, walking around or folding your laundry, you're going to miss a bunch of stuff, even if it's just for a couple of seconds. Yeah. For God's sake, don't fall asleep in the middle of this movie. And number 7, you'll never look at an everything bagel the same way again.
I had an everything bagel today at lunch.
What did you think?
I thought it was delicious.
Was it a black hole?
Yeah, it was not a black hole.
Okay.
I'm okay.
I'm fine. I had it with cream cheese and lox.
But we're not seeing Alpha Ann. We're seeing Ann.
We're seeing Ann? Okay.
Alpha Ann is much skinnier.
Oh, yeah. God, I know. I would be so fit in my other multiverses. All right.
I have long locks.
Long blonde hair.
Some things that you'll see in this movie: you will see awesome fight choreography. You will see Michelle Yeoh at the top of her game. You will see a frumpy Jamie Lee Curtis also at the top of her game. You're going to see people with hot dog hands. You're going to see Ke Kwan kicking the crap out of people with a dad-sized fanny pack. You're going to see dildo kung fu. You're going to see butt plug kung fu. You're going to see a universe-destroying everything bagel. You're going to see raccoonie, paper cuts, and philosophical rocks.
Okay, you forgot. What's her name? All of her amazing costumes.
Oh, God, the daughter Joy. Yes, Stephanie Zoo's. Her costume changes are the bomb.
Yeah, like amaze balls.
Yes, absolutely.
I want my next job to be the job where I get to wear all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. She looks great in all of them. There isn't anything that isn't amazing. I'm trying to think of my favorite outfit. It might be the teddy bear pajamas that she's wearing.
Yeah.
I like the one where she had the potbelly pig.
Okay, when she's dressed as Elvis.
That was when she was dressed as Elvis. That was my favorite too. And I love that the pig immediately goes to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was. There's this movie in a nutshell is Banana Pants, but anyway, Anne, would you like to give us your thoughts on this movie?
I would. I do not like multiverse movies. I think they're lazy at best and lazy and stupid at worst. So I had zero zero intention of seeing this movie because I was like, oh God, another multiverse movie. But Jenny said, and you got to see this movie. It's cuckoo bananas. And I said, okay, I will see it because Jenny and I usually agree on movies. And it was fantastic. It's hilarious. It's you just like, you can't open your eyes wide enough and you're sure you're missing all of this stuff. So what I appreciated most about this movie is the mother-daughter dynamic, which I thought
knew you would like that.
having some baggage and some triggers. I just like
lose weight.
You're too fat. So anyway, that is a very old story, and I thought it was interesting that two dudes wrote and directed this movie, and they really nailed the mother-daughter dynamic. So again, when you talk about a lot of the themes in this movie are some of the oldest themes, and this was one of them. And I thought they handled it. One, they handled it really well, and two, in a really different and unique way. So I liked that. I thought Jamie, and I always have had a soft spot for Jamie Lee Curtis, but damn, that woman should be in every freaking movie from now on. So she was amazing. And I know women like her. I've worked with women like her. There's so many women like her in education. It's not even funny. So she just, and the thing is, like, they could have kept her super one-dimensional as just the IRS agent. But in the last couple of scenes, and in that one multiverse with the people with the hot dog fingers, I'm like, it really gave you a chance to see every single character as not just this one thing, so that was, which I think they don't do. One of the things that they don't do in most multi-universe movies is they don't do that. They don't show you the dimension of characters the way they should, the way they've been given this opportunity. And they did that. So that was another thing that I liked about this movie. And also I think that, and I tell my massage clients this all the time. When massage clients ask me, what type of purse should I use? I always say, women should use fanny packs. So there you go. Fanny packs. Oh, that's my friend Annette from Annette and Mike fame.
Yes, absolutely. Annette, welcome aboard. Hey, Annette, I'm gonna run to your first comment first. Annette believes everything bagels are gross, and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna yum your yuck. If you don't like everything bagels, that's cool. All right, so Annette, you're saying that you are a multiverse newbie. You've never having heard this term. I'm not even sure what it is. This movie appeals to me for many other reasons. Okay. Do you want me to explain multiverses? Because I will.
Give us a little Cliff Notes multiverse.
Okay. So basically, what the idea of multiverses is that we currently exist and experience a single universe because we don't really. We have limited understanding of the universe, and we look at it as being a singular linear thing. But in reality, it's very possible that there are universes that are literally kind of side by side with each other, each working at different speeds. If you read the book Timeline, it kind of takes you through that if we're going to time travel, it means you have to leave this universe and travel to one of your parallel universes. Now, what you have in Everything Everywhere All at Once is you have a multiverse in the sense that isn't parallel, but that you have a universe because of the decisions you make that when that happens, let's say you're driving somewhere and there's many different ways to get there and you choose to turn right. That means by turning right, you're going to experience one universe, and that technically what this movie is saying, that if you would have gone straight, that decision that you made or didn't make sprouted a whole nother universe where you went straight and experienced something completely different. So what they're saying is that every decision that we make creates essentially a breach where a brand new universe takes place, and that you have these infinite multiverses from infinite people and infinite experiences that you could jump into. And that's in this movie, the character Evelyn, in one of the multiverses, she discovers that there are multiverses, and then she discovers how to hop between them. So hopefully I explained that well. And again, it's just one theory about our existence because it's just kind of fun to think about. I'm like, what if,
Yeah, so that's how I, like I said, I usually think that most movies use the multiverse trope as a way to get themselves out of bad writing choices. But I think in this case, they did a great job of actually exploring characters with the multiverse. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know if that makes me a fan of multiverse movies necessarily, but this one was a blast, and I can't wait to see it again. So, and ladies, fanny packs. Women have a lower center of gravity. Our shoulders aren't designed to carry that much weight that we put in our purses. So if you want to stop experiencing some of those shoulder issues, fanny pack, because our hips can take the weight. Also, don't put so much shit in your purse.
So funny. My drag name is Fanny Pack.
Oh, there you go. Mine's Origami Rose.
I don't have one. Wait a minute.
I know. I have a good one for you. Sandy Wash. When I was driving across the country, there was actually a Sandy Wash. They're like, Sandy Wash in 6 miles. And I'm like, that's a great drag name.
That's also a great douche product. Are you kidding?
Ooh, wow, gross.
But I just love that. Like, yeah, there's no water. It's just a Sandy Wash. Like
Sandy Wash.
Ooh, all right. So Anne, you're giving this movie a definite 2 thumbs up. It sounds like. Yeah,
definitely.
Chip, give us your thoughts on this movie.
All right, so I wanted to see this movie because the previews came on and there was Michelle Yeoh, and I can't say like, oh, I'm a big fan. I've seen everything she's ever done. I haven't. The first time I was aware of her was when she was in a James Bond movie, and I remember thinking, oh, give me a fucking break. And then she was brilliant. Like she was gonna my Aunt Sue. Okay, at the next family reunion. And so I the James Bond movie, and she was brilliant. Like I think she overshadowed Pierce Brosnan.
Oh.
And then through the years you would see her in things. The last thing I saw her in was Crazy Rich Asians, where she's playing the mother who doesn't approve of anything. And I thought, I just feel so bad. Like she's so much bigger and better than this. Mm-hmm. And then there's this preview, and she is the lead, and it's a multiverse, so she's going to be playing different things. And then on comes this woman who I'm like, she seems familiar to me, but I don't know how. And I finally realized it's Jamie Lee Curtis. And I was like, it's about time. This woman has deserved acting accolades for a long time, but she doesn't get them because, like Michelle Yeoh, she doesn't get cast. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to just take a little digression into my meeting Jamie Lee Curtis. The first time was the AIDS walk in Los Angeles. She was the main person, and she gave a really excellent speech. And then she walked the entire friggin' walk, and like sped walk the whole thing. Like she was amazing. About 5 years ago, I was working in a bookstore in West Hollywood, and she came in. And she was looking for she wanted to buy something. We didn't put prices on anything. We had a strange boss. And he was like, well, if they need to know the price and you don't know it, you have to go to the computer and look it up on the website and tell them. I'm like, oh, this is a great way to sell stuff. And she was like, I like these keychains. How much are they? I'm like, I think they're $8, but let me look. She was like, by the way, what's your name? I said, Chip. And I sat there at the computer trying to find it. And I said, yeah, they are $8. And then she looked at me and she goes, is your name really Chip? And I said, uh-huh. And she pushed me on the shoulder and she goes, get out. And I said, no, actually it's Charles, but Chip is what I prefer. And she was like, that is excellent. I love that name. So I just had such a great experience with her that, of course, I want her to win everything all the time. I want her to win everything everywhere all at once.
Everything everywhere all the time.
All the universes.
So I was excited to go see this movie because of that. Went by myself, as I often do, and really enjoyed all the performances. Nice to meet you, Annette. I loved all the performances. Loved Ki Kwan, Stephanie Sue, who I think is in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, like the 3rd and 4th seasons. Mm-hmm. And she's marvelous in that. And I was like, and then I cannot remember the gentleman who plays Gong Gong, but they basically cast all the Asians that you would know. in the roles that you would know them as.
Yes.
At least in one of the universes. And like just down the line, every performance is amazing. But the thing was, a week later, I remember, like, I don't remember a thing about this movie. I don't remember what it's about. I just remember really enjoying the performances. And then I ran into Ann and Jenny a couple weeks ago at to going to see Book of Mormon, and they were like, "We're gonna do everything everywhere all at once." I said, "Okay, great." I thought I got to watch it again, so I watched it over a couple of nights, which made a big difference.
Yeah.
Because that's really the thing. It is so densely layered. There's so much going on in this film. And I mean, first of all, you got to kind of deal with the multiverse aspect of it. Then there's all of the fight sequences. And then you've got the multiverse characters of each version of each person. And Jenny Slate also, who's brilliant, you know, has her little bit in there where she's fighting with her dog, where she has the dog and her belt, and she's fighting with Michelle Kwan.
God.
And it's just like every time you almost get to understanding a moment, they jerk you out of that moment and put you into another moment. But the more I watched it, the more I liked, like, you know, like you can see, we're talking about generational trauma. We're talking about the immigrant experience of the first who come over and have all the expectations and place them on top of their children. And the mother-daughter situation that you discussed, Anne, the what if aspect, what if she hadn't said yes to Waymond and hadn't gone to America, and the fact that their love is ending potentially with Waymond filing for divorce. And you begin to see all of these things take place, and how meeting these different people in these different multiverses begins to influence how they can help. What is really the central part of the movie is the daughter sort of sliding into a nihilistic, nothing is important, life is not important. I'm not necessarily interested in going on with this life. And as you begin to watch this, that tension begins to build and you begin to really feel it. And there's a moment at the end where Gong Gong is dressed as kind of a like an alien Terminator thing
with all the office equipment.
Yes, and he's got Evelyn in his grip, and then suddenly he just lets her go so that she can go help her daughter. And it's like, oh my God. And then as the daughter is about to have this thing happen, the mother grabs her, the father grabs the mother, the grandfather grabs all of them. And I'm going to cry right now because it's just like you see each of them finally reaching what they need to reach. And it's just like, oh, it took us a while to get here, but this is absolutely beautiful. And it really is everything, everywhere, all at once. The trouble I had was some of the goofy shit was a little too goofy. I really, the butt plug kung fu, I was like, this is taking me right out of the movie. This is taking me right out of the movie. The Rock's with the googly eyes, kind of taking me out of the movie. There was stuff like that where I was just like, okay, this is a little too much. Like, I know you're trying to bring a little levity, but in a way you're pulling us out of all of this craziness. You're pulling us all out of what we're supposed to be sort of paying attention to. But
yeah, I think that would have cut down on some of the time because I felt the movie was a little long.
I agree. And as much as I love Jenny Slate, we didn't need her character.
Right.
You know, she wasn't important. I would like to have seen more of Joy's girlfriend.
Yes.
And Jenny, I love the way that you wrote it, that she doesn't want to tell Gong Gong that her girlfriend is American. Not that she's gay, but that her girlfriend is American. I love that. But yeah, it just, the other thing I want to ask you guys when we come back after Jenny's comments, because it's demarcated as the first section is everything, the second section is everywhere, and the last section is all at once. And honestly, I did not get that. I didn't quite understand how each section supported those bits.
I'll address that because actually, in the second viewing, it actually made a little bit more sense to me. So real quick, Annette is asking us to introduce Chip. So Annette, Chip goes way back with Ann and I, all the way back to the Eastern Michigan University in the theater department together. And Chip also spent a number of years in Los Angeles And is, like I said, that makes him an expert in entertainment. And,
that alone, that's it.
That's it. That's all it takes. And no, you worked in the industry. You've actually, like you said, you have worked with.
I worked for Warner Brothers Records. I worked on a couple of small movies. I worked on a TV series, and you kind of can't live in Los Angeles without touching the industry in some way.
Yeah. So and and Chip is. I think that you do. You do a lot of entertainment. Like if I want to know about a show, I'm going to talk to you. If I want to know about a movie, I'm going to talk to you because I know you're keeping up with it, and that's one thing that is I do really value and trust your opinion. With that said, we would love to have you on, Annette, as a film critic. Yeah. You can jump in when we see Cocaine Bear in March. So.
Chip, you have to go see that with us.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Cocaine Bear a little bit before we sign off today. We'll get to that for sure.
I think we should get T-shirts that say Team Bear.
Absolutely, we're absolutely. What? Come on, you don't know.
Hey, Mr. Bear, you got a little something.
Annette, you're going to find out that when it comes to movies, Ann and I have literally, you cannot go low enough. Christ, we saw a movie called Velocipaster that was made by some film student for $35,000.
So much better than Maverick Top Gun.
It really was.
So much.
God, I'm totally.
I really believe the Velociraptor.
Truly the special effects.
Yeah, the special effects were the best ever. I've never seen better. So my thoughts on this movie, and I'm going to start with the last thing that you said first. So the everything is everything that's happening right now and everything that's going to happen. So we start with everything, which is her life, her mess, her audit, her father, her daughter, her bad marriage. And then we jump into this, everything that she's dealing with once she gets to the IRS. And then we jump into the everything that she's dealing with after Wayman kicks the crap out of everybody, and we really start into the multiverse. Then we jump into the everywhere. And what we see with the everywhere is all of the different multiverses that she's in. We spend time with her as the actress. We spend time with her as the hibachi chef. We spend time in the hot dog world. We spend time with in the office, in that IRS office when she's battling everybody. And then the all at once is literally the last 2 minutes of the movie. And that all at once is everything now that she knows and that she's experiencing has brought her to this place all at once right here.
Okay.
So that's the everything everywhere all at once.
I appreciate that. That does bring it home for me. Thank you.
No, and when you watch it the third time, because you'll end up watching it, you'll see it. And I didn't notice it. I didn't really get it until on my second viewing, and I was like, I think I get that now. So Annette says, Ann already knows that I have very different tastes in movies to her. Fair enough.
Yes, Annette has a more artistic sense of movies, and I have a more
bring it all in.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I can do artistic, and then I can do also ridiculous and whatever is popular. I'm very eclectic. I have more of
what you are, Ann, is you're very fine dining, but a hot dog is good too.
A hot dog is exactly a walking taco can do fine too.
Yes. So, but my other thoughts on this movie is that this movie really surprised and delighted me. I wasn't necessarily interested in watching this either. I avoided it for a really long time, but I can't remember what was like, hey, you know what? I got Paramount Plus. I could watch this movie. I'm going to do this. What does Annette say? Artistic, Chip? Have you seen Big Man Japan?
No.
See? Yeah. Pop culture.
I'm going to write that down.
Right on. This is a movie that you watch if you are sick of Marvel and sequels, because this movie, I believe, offers some hope for a creative wackadoodle awesomeness, which I think is missing in Hollywood. In the last 20 years, it's like this whole thing has been sanitized into sequels and remakes and Marvel. And I'm just like, if I have to watch one more effing superhero movie, I've had it, So I would say watching this movie twice is almost required viewing, because you do spend the first viewing going, what the actual fuck am I watching right now? And that's okay, because what I noticed was all the little things that I missed in the first watching that I just noticed, like a statue here, something happening in the background there, some dialogue or a piece of that I missed earlier. So Michelle Yeoh is amazing in this movie, and again, she popped up in the '90s. I think one of her first. She was she's Malaysian, and did a lot of early work in Chinese cinema. Again, her breakthrough was her being a Bond girl in Tomorrow. I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies.
I think so.
And then her next breakthrough is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was in 2000.
So
And
incredible.
yeah, she was incredible in that. And so she's very renowned in the Chinese cinema, especially for her martial arts work. That's kind of where she got her start. And then she's had, a series of supporting role movies and some, so again, but not, this is a real step up for her. And that's one of the things that I think is really great about seeing her in this movie. Q Kwan surprised me. We got a picture of him here on the right. That's him as Short Round back in the 80s. And that's him now. And he was, I thought he was, I'm like, where's this dude been? He's so good in this.
Yes.
And I was surprised, not just, his physical comedy was amazing. Very Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton sort of, that sort of great physical comedy, but also just the emotional range that we get from him. And that's where he snaps from being Alpha Waymond to just R Waymond is very pronounced. And I'm like, oh, God, it's really good. And I really loved that. He loved her in both versions. He looks very fondly at her, talks very fondly of her as Alpha Evelyn. And you can tell he still loves her as R Evelyn, but he's also exhausted by her, Okay, so apparently Big Man Japan is a superhero movie. All right. I was surprised at the emotional punch that I felt near the end of this movie, and that really surprised me. And I think it was that similar scene that you were talking about, Chip, when you have this family dynamic and you're just like, dude. And honestly, I also felt an emotional punch with the whole Raccacoonie storyline, which is, for those of you that are going to see the movie, it's based off of the movie Ratatouille with the guy that has the rat on his, it's the Disney movie, but which was absurd and hilarious. And then the other thing that occurred to me was, as I was watching this movie, is where does that well of creativity come to imagine something like this and then have the skill and the vision to pull it off? Yeah. I don't even know where you start with that. I'm like, and again, not just the vision, but then the vision and you know how to pitch it to somebody like a Michelle Yeoh or a Jamie Lee Curtis that says, okay, we have this movie and we want you to read the screenplay, and this is what it's going to be like. And I can't even imagine what it was like reading that screenplay going, yeah, okay, I get it.
I want to do this.
Yeah. So, and this movie's not for the faint of heart. I think you'll be challenged. And Chip, I actually have to disagree with you. I really liked all of the sidebar stuff, the wackadoodle stuff that takes you out of that, because I found myself needing a break from some of the intensity of the story where there was so much happening, to pull back and sit there and just laugh and laugh and laugh about this this butt plug kung fu. And I actually loved the scene with the rocks, because as a geologist, I know this is going to sound weird, but when you really stop to think about the idea where you have no biological life, where everything is inorganic, that, and when you consider that the majority of time on this planet was spent with inorganic life. If you look at the history of the world, you had a solid 2 billion years where it was just that. It was rocks and ice and water and volcanoes. And so that took me back to that point, that these multiverses, literally, you could have a multiverse that is literally still in its infancy, compared to where we are right now. So,
kind of going back to that it's not for the faint of heart. Sometimes when a movie or a series is, like, I think this kind of took me back to the series on HBO of The Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
I spent the first 6 or 7 episodes not knowing what the hell was going on, but I kept coming back to it every week, excited about it, because it was so creative and fascinating. And I think I got the same with this. it would have been really easy to say, this is stupid, I'm not going to watch it, I don't know what's going on. But it never lost me. Even though when I didn't know what was going on, it never lost me, which I think speaks extremely well for the story and for what they and how they told it. Because that is a hard, because like you said, it's not for the faint of heart. If you're not invested in this, you're going to be like, I don't get it, I'm going to go do something else. But like The Watchmen, it kept me enthralled enough until I finally figured out what was going on again. And then the emotional,
But I would do.
We got to the end, that emotional, I was like, I was all there. So.
But I would agree with both of you. It was too long. It was about 25 minutes too long.
Yeah.
And, I think they could have, in the end, they could have probably finished telling that story sooner. And for whatever reason, they didn't. But if that's my only complaint about the movie, then I think that was, I think that's pretty good.
Well, I'll say this too about seeing it. And you were talking about the Marvel movies, was because Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness came out just a few weeks before this movie did. Mm-hmm. And I still kind of enjoy the Marvel stuff, but that one I had kind of a hard time following. And so then when we came into this one, I thought, like if I had a hard time following the coloring book version, I don't know how I'm going to do with the more, Gauguin version of
the coloring book version of this movie. Why did I not know about this? I love the color.
It's funny, but that was kind of a thing, because I thought it was affecting the way I was watching it. I really like the casting choices, and I love that they kept making fun of the name Jobu Tupaki.
Oh my God.
That she was like, Joe, and they came back to the name. She kept coming up with a different way of saying the name.
Yes.
And the Rakakuni thing, I didn't quite get it, but
the moment
she says,
when he was running towards the raccoon, it was like I was getting tears in my eyes, The
moment she says that movie, Rakakuni, and the daughter goes, do you mean Ratatouille? She's like, no, I mean Rakakuni. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So that part just killed me. I'm like, I could not stop laughing. It's when you see it, and when he goes in the kitchen and she walks in him on the kitchen when the raccoon is controlling him by the hair. I'm like, this is just nuts.
I know. But I think that was the thing in the first watch. It was like, what? Like I was going along with you until this moment, and then I was, so like you said, repeated viewings are important.
Yeah,
if you're up for it. The other thing I really enjoyed in it is the music. The music drives so much of the action. And I was listening to the soundtrack the other day at work, and I actually had to turn it off because it is so dynamic that I was like, I'm getting anxiety, like just at my job. I'm like, okay, enough. But I love at the end, there's just this one little part where they just sing I love you like 3 or 4 times. And it was like, that's like the perfect button for that movie.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm just going to say real quick, Michelle Yeoh, as a result of this film, has now been cast in the movie version of the musical Wicked.
Oh.
And she's going to play Madame Morrible, the school teacher whose intentions are not quite good.
I love that.
So I'm anxious to hear her sing, and I know she's got that in her because we saw her play that in Crazy Rich Asians.
Correct. And we got to hear her a little bit in Everything Everywhere All at Once, because the singer is one of the universes we visit her in, and I again just awesome.
Yeah, I love that one of her multiverse people was actually Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
standing on the red carpet in front of the Crazy Rich Asians poster, and I'm like, okay,
so meta. That's awesome. So I have to ask, what else are we watching that we were loving? So we've talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once. We have agreed that this is a good movie. I would love to see it win the Oscar, and I love the fact that something this wackadoodle could win the Oscar. I think I want that to happen. So
yeah, that would certainly be interesting, especially with, like you said, the list of nominees.
Yeah.
I will say again, I'm just going to say The Whale for me was the best movie I saw last year.
Fair enough.
But this one, after rewatching it, is certainly up there.
Cool.
I'm trying to think, what else am I watching? I just watched something called Fleischman. It's got Michael Cera, or not Michael Cera, the other guy like him, Jesse Eisenberg, and Claire Danes. It's a series called Fleischman Isn't Winning or something like that. That's kind of sweet. It's not, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of a divorce story.
Is it on HBO right now?
It might be. I think it's FX actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it was on Hulu, and I don't have Hulu right at this moment.
Yes.
So
That was good. And there's a new series on network TV called Will Trent. And he's a detective, and he's a little kooky. It's kind of like if Monk was more masculine.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Annette, what is EO? I don't know what that means. I don't know. I need an explanation. And what about you? What are you watching?
I'm watching right now the new series on HBO, The Last of Us.
Ooh.
And I'm a big sucker for anything, like apocalyptic like that happens. And I went into it thinking I've never played the game, so I had no idea what the game was about, because it's based on a video game. And so I walked in thinking they are going to do exactly what they always do in apocalyptic movies like this, which is fine because I enjoy that. But they have taken some different directions in it that I truly think are great. One, the first one I'm just going to say, they said most of it is 20 years in the future after this event has happened, which you do not see. They usually do it like as it's happening and then maybe a little bit after the event. So this goes 20 years into the future, how civilization and society has dealt with this. And then episode 3, I'm not going to give anything away about it. It is beautiful.
I keep hearing that.
It was so wonderful. So that's the series I'm watching right now that I really liked. Also, I'd like to talk about 2 podcasts that I'm listening to. One is the Exploress, which is, and they're doing the Tudors right now, which is, she did it last year, which is great. But it's a women in history podcast, which I'm really enjoying. I'm also Maintenance Phase which is on the health and beauty industry. Fascinating.
That's a good one.
It really will really change your perspective on how you look at health and beauty. And then I'm also If Books Could Kill, and it's going back at like pop psychology books like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and that sort of thing. The Secret.
The Secret.
Yeah, just going back talking about these books.
The secret is you just spent a bunch of money on this book.
Exactly. Your cancer with positive thoughts. It's like, how many people did that kill?
I've been manifesting.
I'm manifesting. Ooh, if I got cancer, it means I'm manifesting bad things.
I've been manifesting that Dr. Phil's show will end. Oh, that worked.
Anyway, so that's what I'm doing right now. Is that those are the. So anyway, it's fun.
Annette says that EO is a Polish movie about a donkey.
Oh, I was thinking Captain EO from Michael Jackson, the Disney movie that Michael Jackson did for Disney. Captain EO.
It's not a bad guess.
Still kind of about a donkey. Anyway.
Good one.
Polish one. Is that racist?
Maybe.
What are you watching and or doing?
All right. So I just finished the series Hacks on HBO, which I'm always late to the party, but I thought that show was freaking awesome. So I'm going to say you should watch Hacks if you have HBO, because that show is Jean Smart is quickly shooting up the ladder as being one of my, if she's in it, you can't miss it sort of things.
Totally.
I'm going back to the things that she's done, especially in this last decade. Hacks is outstanding. Mayor of Easttown, she was amazing in. Watchmen.
The Watchmen, yeah.
God, the woman is like having this late career just surge, and it's like whatever she's in, watch it. And then what else? That's pretty much the big thing that I'm watching right now. Also watching The Last of Us. Joe's been playing that game for a decade. He's been playing that game forever. So it's really interesting to get his perspective. He's watching it very closely as well, and he likes it. I think he's like, it's different than the game, but I think he also likes where they are going with it. Yeah, and episode 3 was really kind of an outlier in terms of the story, but I was glad they took the time to tell that story because it really is one of those things. It's just nice to have something like that in the world, that episode exists because it is so beautifully done. And that's one of the things. And actually, I'm just I just saw Annette's comment. This is actually a movie that I really do want to see. I haven't seen it yet because I don't think it's streaming. Do you guys know if it's streaming anywhere yet?
I think it's on Netflix.
Is it? Okay, I'll have to look for it. Because I don't necessarily, like most movies, I really just like to sit in my living room and watch movies because then I have ice cream at my disposal whenever I want. Oh, Amazon Prime. All right. Thanks for that. Okay. But yeah, because I love Cate Blanchett. I think she's again one of those just transcendental performers, and so I'm looking forward to. And I've heard that it's a tough movie to watch because she's not super likable in it, and that's not required that a character be likable to watch and really get a lot out of a movie. So that's one that I'm trying to think what else that I'm watching right now or we have been watching. But yeah, that's the big one has been Hacks. I've been kind of chewing through Avenue Q. Not Avenue Q, Avenue 5 on HBO. But I got kind of stalled on that because we started on Hacks and then I just wanted to watch that over and over. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to, that second season is coming up of that one that we love on HBO.
Oh, Somebody Somewhere.
Somebody Somewhere. Oh, yeah. God, I love that show.
We'll have to talk about that after that season's over.
Yeah. Oh, that's on my list too. And that actually, I've heard nothing but great things about Our Flag Means Death. So looking forward to that. And, but yeah, that's and it's like I said, Somebody Somewhere that comes up. I want to say that's starting up again in March or April. I actually follow Jeff Hiller on Facebook. We improv together 1,000 years ago.
I thought of you because he was on the season of American Horror Story.
Okay,
and I was like, as soon as he showed up, I was like, he can do this too. Like this fucker can do everything.
Yeah, Jeff is literally, I think, one of the most talented dude I've ever worked with. Maybe Steve Smith, who I improv with in Colorado as well. I think just has that just deep well of brain that it takes to because he's so. I mean, the short time that I worked with Jeff in improv was literally one of the most fun months that I've ever had because it was just like I just sit down and watch and just watch. Yeah, so it was pretty awesome.
The one I was talking about, it's called Fleischman is in Trouble. That's what it's called.
Okay. All right.
I guess it's based on a book, but yeah, I was surprised by it. It mostly held my interest.
Which one is that on?
It's on FX and Hulu.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I feel like I'm constantly watching stuff, but I'm not. My thing lately has been well, okay, so we were talking about The Fabelmans briefly, and I was not that impressed by it, but I was impressed by Paul Dano, who always impresses me. Like, he just played the Joker in the Batman. He played Brian Wilson, the Beach Boy. He played him a few years ago in a bio about him. But he plays Spielberg's long-suffering father, who, if you just are a person who just watches movies, you would be like, he doesn't do anything in this film. But if you watch him, it's like, it's this man like traversing, does he really love this woman? How much does he love her and his family? What is he willing to give up? Like you're just seeing all of this, but he makes it so deceptive that you think he's doing nothing. I like that. And the same with The White Lotus, like watching Aubrey Plaza. Like everybody's like, all she does is stare and roll her eyes. And I'm like, no.
She's great.
Like there's a lot going on in that head and she's giving it all to us. You just have to watch.
Yeah, I really like this season of White Lotus.
I gotta say, I was a little disappointed with the end. We knew what the end was going to be, but I was like, they left. One thing he does that I kind of like and kind of don't like is he leaves these blank spaces in the story where you're supposed to just kind of fill it in with your own stuff. And in this case, he left too many or too big of blank space in the finale.
Fair enough.
But I'm hoping that's because it will pick all that stuff up in the third season.
Maybe it will, Chip.
So,
Maybe.
yeah, I was like, we know what's going to happen. But when it happened, I was like, seriously? But it did make me laugh because I thought it just was hysterical that like she
It was so her.
whole room of people and then still dirt. Like that's the way that the creator of the show described it, was like she takes out a whole room of people and then just derps her way to death.
Exactly. You got this, girl. I love this. Like, you got this, girl.
You're like, oh, really? I can remember watching it. I was like,
it was gonna be her.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Totally. But at the same time, I thought I was so disappointed in her character at the end of the first season that,
Right.
you know, and I was like, I know we want to bring her back because she's Jennifer Coolidge, but the character is not likable.
She's not. And she's again,
not.
it's not required that you like a character to be interested in their story. You know,
True,
it's like
true.
she's not a nice, she's a selfish and she's ultimately really selfish and kind of terrible. And you know, you're like, yeah.
But yeah, I can't turn away from her. She's compelling. She's very
I agree. I love her. I think the thing that bugged me the most was the fact that her husband never showed up again.
Or maybe he's the key to the
where
next
I'm like,
season.
he's going to be in the third season.
I gotta believe he's got to be in the third. He has to be in the third.
I thought, you know, and that I was like, but why would he? If it lends to the theory, I don't want to give too much away. It lends to the theory that he was involved, and if he's not there, then he can't be blamed.
That's true. I kind of thought that, but I thought we would see him from a distance.
Right. I don't know. I don't know, Chip.
There's the whole story. There was the whole story early in the show where they were like, there was the woman who lived on this rock or this castle, and she ended up jumping off and killing herself. And it was like, okay, so that's ultimately what happened.
Yeah.
And
it was a boat instead of a rock.
Right. And then I thought, but there was like a man or something who had driven her nuts or had taken over or something. So I thought we're going to see like the sinister, you know, from a distance kind of thing, and still be left with like, ooh, questions.
I'm not sure Michael White does that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think, honestly, I don't think he does that. He's like, I'm not going to finish this for you.
Yeah. I think that's, like I said, I don't mind that in smaller doses, but in bigger doses, it's like, you are a storyteller, so tell the fucking story.
Whoa, easy. Hey, Annette, thank you so much for joining us. Annette is signing off. Thanks.
Bye, Annette.
And I think that's probably our cue to move it on. We've been on for over an hour now, and I actually have to get ready to go to bed because I got to work tomorrow. And I get up early for work. Early.
Yuck.
So, but Annette, thanks for joining us. That was awesome.
Yes.
Look, Chip language. I don't know what that means.
Oh, that means watch my language.
Oh, don't say fuck, Chip.
Yeah, right.
Uncle Chippy.
Because
sorry.
I watched it as it comes right out of my mouth.
I know. Sometimes on this show we swear.
Sometimes there's swears.
Sometimes we try to keep it. We try to keep it to a minimum, though.
We
try. Sometimes it just slips out because of excitement.
Because we're very passionate.
Chip, we are. So one of the things we are slated for is that we are going to have another movie review sometime in March. There's a movie coming out the first weekend of March called Cocaine Bear. This is a real movie. Go to YouTube, look up the trailer. It will be 2.5 minutes, 2.5 of your best minutes of the day. My friend Jeff Marn sent me this link to a trailer the other night, and I sat and watched the trailer and just laughed and laughed and laughed. And I'm like, I cannot wait to see
Team Bear.
Team Bear. That's right. Cocaine Bear. So, Chip, you must absolutely go see that. In fact, I think we're making a date to go see it together. So,
that sounds good.
Yeah.
I think for the next broadcast, I'm going to change my last name to Brothers.
Oh, good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Oh, I love that idea. My dad always wanted a son.
Yeah. All right. So,
thank you guys. I always have fun with you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
It's Duncan.
Hey, how are you?
It's Duncan.
Duncan, you want to go see Cocaine Bear with us too?
Sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that looks like a crazy movie, man.
I know. So yeah.
Crazy movie, man.
That's our next movie review.
All right.
Okay.
We will be back in 2 weeks. What do we? And we have a show for 2 weeks.
You do. You need more light.
Sorry. were just talking about what we're gonna do.
We gotta
next
get you
time.
we gotta get you a fancy ring light, Ann.
Oh, there we go. Oh, look at me. Oh, maybe you should turn that off.
That's not even a.
You look like a hologram.
Oh,
no.
You
Just
look like
went
you should
all,
be
what is
going,
that one movie?
Obi-Wan, you're my last hope.
Artistic.
I love it.
You workshop that light. Workshop that light.
Workshopping that light hard. Hey, you guys, until we will be back in 2 weeks. And what are we talking about in 2 weeks?
Shit, are you still on?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were done. I thought you were just talking. Sorry, guys.
Special guest, Duncan Williams.
Yeah, Duncan Williams.
Okay, my friend Annette, who we just heard from a couple times during the show, she saw our show on Universal Yums, and she thought it was great. So she got it for her grandson, or Mike's grandson for his birthday, her husband's grandson for his birthday. And then she made us a Universal Yum kit from the stuff in her pantry. So I think that we should get together again, Jenny, and try some of the stuff that came in her homemade Universal Yum kit from Allen Park, Michigan.
She's Australian, though.
Oh,
so
my
she has
God.
fucking- yes, and that has an international flair.
Yeah, she
Let's
does.
go.
There's a
Allen
lot
Park,
of guests from
Michigan.
her texting. But yes, Annette is Australian. So I think we should do that again and eat some stuff that came in the Universal Yum box.
Yes, we are going to eat Annette's homemade Universal Yums box. That will be amazing.
Yes. So we can, get our candid reactions.
Okay.
I had to eat one thing out of it already because she had made it and it was going to go bad, so I just ate it. But there's still like 18 other things. We don't have to
Okay,
eat all
good.
18.
Well,
but
make
I'll-
some notes about that thing you ate, and then we'll put it in the show.
I will. I'll do I'll pick out like 10 things. I'll make like a slideshow on, like here's something from Vietnam. Here's a fun fact about Vietnam. Whatever. So
Okay. All right, cool. Well, thanks again, you guys. Chip Mohele, thank you for taking the time to see this movie yet again,
you.
and taking the time to put your thoughts on paper for us and join us for the show.
Thank
yes,
you.
thank you, Chip. It was so
Right
fun.
on.
And see him very soon next month in our review of Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear. Right on. All right, you guys. I'm going to put our brand in the background, and then I'm going to kick you guys out of the studio. Take good care of yourself, you guys. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.